Happy New Year. It's just about the end of the year. It's going to be a quiet New Year's Eve here. And I thought what I would do is make a brand new recipe. Wouldn't it be nice just to ring in the new year with a whole new invention? So I went out to the garden and I said, what's out here that I can use? And I looked in the refrigerator to see what I had, thinking about a crust. And it turns out I had a big bag of walnuts in there from my cookie baking. And it came to me that I think I could do a walnut crust. Okay, so here's my bowl. I'm going to mix the crust up in the bowl. And what I have assembled here is a cup of ground walnuts. Here's a third of a cup of unbleached flour. And here is a quarter cup of butter. And I softened that butter a little bit. I put it in the toaster oven on the toast setting for just a few minutes to soften it because I think it's going to mix together better. So everything is going to go into the bowl. And then I think I'm going to add a little bit of salt, and then I'm going to mix it around really well. And then I'm just going to empty the ingredients into a pie pan. And I'm just going to press it into the pan, very much like the way you would do with a graham cracker crust. I'm pushing it out towards the sides to make sure that the pan's all covered with crust. So the toaster oven is up to temperature, so in goes my crust, and I'm going to set the timer for 10 minutes. All I really have to do is brown it. I don't have to really bake it, but I'd like it a little brown. I think that will be nice for the flavor. So the timer is set for 10 minutes. So there's the crust after 10 minutes at 250, and it is nicely browned. It smells good, and I think it's ready for the filling. Okay, so for the quiche filling, this is what I have assembled thanks to my garden. I have about 2 cups of fresh collards. These smell really good. Then I have 1 cup of my beautiful fresh parsley. I found a nice purple onion in the refrigerator, so I'm going to put in a quarter of a cup of purple onion. Here's a bowl of 4 eggs. And then here I have, I found in my refrigerator some nice cream cheese. This is whipped cream cheese, and it's organic. It's really lovely. And here is 1/3 cup of cream cheese. And then one of my favorite things in the whole world, grated Asiago cheese. And here's a 1/2 cup of that. And I think what I'm going to do is put all of these ingredients, except the cheese, into the blender. And I think the Asiago is going to be sprinkled on the top. So everything now is going to go into the blender. Eggs. Collards. Parsley. Onion. And then I'm going to have to scrape out this, make sure I get all of this out of here. I'm also going to add about 1/4 teaspoon of salt for me, and then some freshly grated pepper. Wow, so that was easy, blending it up. It just took a minute or 2, and now I'm going to pour this mixture into the shell. Oh, and sprinkle it with this Asiago cheese. What I'm going to base the baking times on for this collard quiche is my recipe in my Pop It in the Toaster Oven cookbook. And by the way, if you have a toaster oven, you should get this book. It's got a lot of wonderful recipes in desserts, breakfasts, dinners. So for my broccoli quiche recipe, that was phyllo dough, but I think it'll work the same for this crust. It was 400 degrees for 30 minutes. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to set up my toaster oven now to 400 degrees, and when it's up to temperature, I'm going to put the quiche in. Okay, so in goes the quiche for 30 minutes. I'm going to set the timer for 30 minutes. I might just visually check it after 20 minutes. This is a new toaster oven, so I just want to make sure that my baking times on this oven are going to be the same as my older oven. Well, there's the collard quiche. It was 30 minutes at 400, and that seemed to be just right. You can always test a quiche just by touching it, and when it's firm all the way around, then you know it's done. Well, I'm thinking this turned out really well. The flavor is excellent, and I love the walnut crust. And I'm thinking that with a recipe like this, which was pretty much off the top of my head, you could do it. What do you need? You need the 4 eggs. You need some sort of crust, and to tell you the truth, I think a crumb crust is easier than any other kind of pie crust. You could use margarine instead. You could use toast crumbs just by grinding them up in the blender and mixing with butter and pressing those into a pie pan, and I think that would give you a good crust also. So maybe you don't have collards in your garden, but you could use other things, you know, any vegetable you have. Broccoli, of course I have the broccoli quiche recipe in my Pop It in the Toaster Oven cookbook. But hey, who's to say you couldn't grate up carrots or any other kind of green like kale, I think would be excellent with this. Who's to say that you can't put in chives, garlic, a different kind of cheese, maybe a cheddar. There's so many lovely variations of this that I think that now that we have the basic recipe, you can go ahead and do a lot of variations on this theme. And Happy New Year.